And we're live, guys. So it's so great seeing you all again. Just wanted to do, hop on a live stream and talk about the StartEngine campaign we've got going on. It's going so well. We're so close to $1 million raised. I think we're at like 970,000 right now, with just like a little bit under 5 hours left, right, Joseph? Yeah. Any comments you guys have, would love to be chatting with you right now. Feel free to join on the live stream. And a lot has just kind of changed over even when we started this previous crowdfunding campaign. So we started it, our previous crowdfunding campaign, we had like 3.1 million that we had raised on that. And now I guess total, if you add in what we just raised right now, we're over 4 million, which is just that's a huge milestone for us in particular. So it's really exciting. And I mean, I feel like ever since we closed that last last round that we got on Shark Tank, which was just absolutely huge, getting like a 3 shark deal with the sharks, and I think like a bunch more has happened since then. We were on just even in this last week, we were on ABC News. We had a patient who came in and a potential user, Steve, who got in a bouldering accident, and he is trying to get our hand, and we were able to actually have him try out the hand for the very first time in the office, ever since his accident 6 weeks ago. And it was just an incredible moment. And this was on ABC News. And then earlier today, we were actually on Fox News New York. And they did a story on us where they featured one of our users, Ryan Goodwin, who many of you who follow us might know as well too. And it was just a really awesome piece, just talking about the cool advances in AI that we're doing in bionics right now, and kind of how in the future we're going towards more seamlessly integrated devices that are hooked up to your nerves and your bones. And we're really excited to usher in this new era of prosthetic limbs. And yeah, I think it's just a super exciting time to be here, and with especially with the final hours of this crowdfunding campaign. And Joseph, so I mean, as our creative specialist behind the scenes, doing all of our media stuff and making videos and everything too, and even getting this whole thing set up as well.
Possible technical difficulties.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, exactly. That's why we got to work through these technical difficulties too, right? So we're trying to get back on Instagram, it seems like, on Psionics Instagram.
Yes.
Cool. And I think we're on my Instagram, it seems, right?
No, Instagrams are having issues, so that's.
But we've got some YouTubers on.
Oh,
so
hey,
hello, good evening as well. And yeah, we're just super excited to see all the progress that we've been making over the last just even month, last month. I think even ever since we restarted this raise, another huge thing that had happened was Mercedes. Mercedes made a deal with Aptronic, or one of our clients who use our hand on their bionic, or on their humanoid robot, and they're literally going to be putting Mercedes cars together using our bionic hands. And I think that's just super exciting. I think that's going to be really cool. And again, I didn't expect that was going to happen literally within the last month. So even just in the last month, so much has been happening. And so if you guys are just joining us right now, we're live across basically most of our social medias, right? Yeah. So LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, we're able to connect it. Okay. Instagram, YouTube. And we're just talking about the final hours of our crowdfunding campaign. We're close to 971,000 raised. We're hoping to get to 1 million by the end of the night, with I think about 5 hours left in the campaign. And so yeah, so Joseph, from your perspective, like what have you thought of like the last month? So like before, we had ended the campaign, we raised 3.1 million in the end of January, and then ever since then, there's just been so much that's happened.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in, and honestly, like we did our webinar, like last webinar, actually 2 webinars ago, like January 31st, and it's already like May. So time flies. It's kind of you kind of forget everything that goes on because we did a lot of the traveling to like South by Southwest and CES and all those things, and it feels like both longer and shorter than what has actually happened, because January feels like we just had so much stuff packed in that when you look back at it, it's like, wow, we did a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, even thinking about South by Southwest, I mean, that was crazy because I remember that we were writing a NASA grant, and that like we had to squeeze that in while I was like visiting Apptronic at their headquarters, and then we got to see so I guess the night before we went to Apptronic, I had visited the home of one of our users who was hosting like a small like startup get together at his place, and I'd met Yemi, who was working with Apptronic, and he was programming the Apptronic robot to like do a dance and like just be a host for this keynote speech that they were going to be giving, of just introducing Apollo to like the world basically. And I remember that him telling me that they were going to make Apollo dance, and I remember seeing that video on YouTube, and I was just like, dang, this is so cool that they made Apollo dance using our hands. And and I think while we were at Apptronic, Jeff Cardenas, their CEO, was just like, he was teasing that something big was going to be in the works, right? We were like, oh, what's this going to be? And then literally like 2 days later, we see this like crazy video and these crazy pictures from Mercedes, like building building a car, like using our hands on the Apollo robot. And I was just like, this is nuts. This was just like literally like weeks. It was like a couple weeks after like Shark Tank had aired, and that was just a couple of weeks after like we had just finished the first round of our campaign, and I was just like, wow, so much is happening so quickly.
It feels like that's kind of like a reoccurring pattern of like, Ani joined, and 2 weeks later is NASA, and then like it's just like one thing after another, like all happening.
Yeah, and with Ani, like we just released the day in the life video, which is just so cool, right? I mean, like showing her like doing such amazing things like the pancake flip. I mean, that was like one of my favorite things. And then paragliding and golfing and like doing a pull up and like bench pressing. And I was like, this is so cool. Like just showing all these crazy cool things you can do with a bionic hand that really, I like. Before this wasn't possible, right? Like it was really difficult to do this with like prosthetic hands in the past, and to be kind of like ushering in this like new era of just like bionic limbs, I think is just like, I mean, I'm grateful that we can do these things, right? So yeah, and then like I said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to just drop them in the comments. We're going to be here for a little bit. Yeah, it looks like we've got some pretty good.
Ethan and Chris are in here.
Oh, Ethan and Chris are in there. Nice. And then Chris should be joining us soon. I think he'll be joining us in less than a month. We're excited to have him on board. And Ethan just let me know like a couple weeks ago that so Ethan and Chris were interns for us this past summer, and Ethan will be joining Georgia Tech as a PhD student this upcoming fall. Congrats, Ethan. We're really proud of you, and it's just a testament to like the caliber of people that work here at Psionic. Like they're doing life-changing stuff, and we're super excited for all of our users. And just earlier today and this weekend, we had like some of our users join in, and we had like Dale DeMasi flew in from Tampa, and we've got like a secret thing going on with him in the works too, which is going to be fun to reveal over the next couple months. But a fun thing we did that he had done too with some of our other users in the area, they went to play pool was it last night? I think it was
Friday night.
Friday, yeah.
Friday night.
Today
Saturday night.
Saturday night. Okay, yeah, 2 nights ago. 2 nights ago, and we got some really cool shots of like Dale using the hand to like do these like pool shots, and like Xavier and some of the other users that we've got local to the area. And it's just, again, these are things that like I wish, like I dreamed of doing like 3-4 years ago, like that, before we had any users at all. And it was like, man, it'd be so good if we could just like show our users like doing such cool things, activities of daily living, but then also fun things like pool, like playing pool and like working out and like flaming board breaking and all this stuff. And you just look back on like where we are now and where we were then, and just, yeah, it's we've come a really long way, and it's just super exciting to be here. Yeah.
We were only here. We moved here like a year and a half ago.
Yep.
Something
Yeah.
Like that. And
yeah.
I know like the user base is already growing. Like today, we just saw like within the past couple of days, I think I met with like 3 different users in the area, and it's cool seeing it grow, especially in the local area where they're just around, you know. I guess like how many users do we have right now? Like how's the growth been since like the beginning of the year?
Yeah, so I mean, I think we've got like close to 200 users right now, and I mean, since the beginning of the year, things have just been like accelerating, right? And so last year when we moved here, we were making like 2 hands a week, and now we've like tripled that. So we're like at 6 hands a week now, and we're outgrowing our space. So these are all like fantastic problems to have. We've got too much, we've got more demand than we can produce, and we're trying to like expand our place. And so we're looking into our new facility that, I mean, I feel like we just moved here, and we're already like looking to a facility that's 5 times bigger than our current space, so that we can start meeting the demand and everything. And so it's so exciting to see that. And like we just, in this last quarter, it was our highest performing quarter ever, and I think we did like over 600K in revenue. And just to put that in perspective, Q1 is usually our worst of every year. So if you like historically look at like the last like 2-3 years, it's because everyone at the end of the year tries to get their insurance to like cover the hands, and so there's like this huge burst of activity like right at the end of the year, and then there's a lull in like January. And so we had that huge burst of activity last year. And so Q4 of last year was our best performing like quarter ever. And then boom, like Q1 of this year even surpasses that. I was just like, this is crazy. And what we're seeing even this quarter is that a lot of our robotics customers are like starting to buy like larger orders and things like that. And so a couple of them have been placing orders for like 20 to 25 hands, and that's just like really like increasing like revenue. And they're talking about eventually making like tens of thousands of like humanoid robots. You need to multiply that by 2, and that's how many hands you have. And that can eventually like subsidize the cost enough that we'll be able to hit like a price point that Medicaid might even cover. And I think that would be really, really huge. And that's what we're all about, right? That's what we've been about all along, making the most advanced bionic hands more accessible than ever.
I guess like on the insurance front of things, like what's the difference between like Medicare and Medicaid and how they qualify covering things?
Yeah, so Medicare, historically, Medicare has been like seniors, so 65 and older, but also for people on disability, right? So a lot of our users can qualify for Medicare through the disability angle. And typically, if Medicare covers it, then a lot of the other insurers will cover it. But Medicaid is specifically for lower income, right? So that's for people who can't afford are below a certain income level, and they have a lower tax bracket and things like that. And Medicaid currently only covers like hooks, for example, right? So the body powered devices and no myoelectric devices, and a lot of that comes down to just the prices of these things, right? And for us, it's always been like a volume game. If we can get our volumes high enough, then we can bring our prices low enough. And I would say that with Medicare covering the hand, the statistic that we found was that I think it was like 75% of patients like in the U.S. can now afford the most advanced bionic limb on the market, and that still leaves 25% who are uninsured or not or underinsured, who can't afford the hand, and the 80% of people in developing nations that are less than 3% who have access to affordable rehabilitative care. And so that's a huge number, right? I mean, it's like, I think 10 million people worldwide, right? If 80% of them are in developing nations, that's a lot of people who can't get access to these hands. And so if we can get our prices low enough by hitting these like volumes, especially if they're subsidized by the robotic side, then I think that would be huge, like super huge, that we'd be able to manage that. And I'm really excited to usher in like a new era of like bionic limbs that can actually be more advanced than ever before, but at a price point that we can get to Pakistan, we can get to Ecuador, we can get to like all these places like Ukraine and Gaza and like things like that we wouldn't have been able to do as easily had we not had this like the term I've heard is a race car market, which is the robotics market. Yeah. And so that's just really exciting. And I know that we're this summer we plan to make huge headway with the Psionic Institute, which is our subsidiary that works with nonprofits to subsidize the cost for those who can't afford it. And we're really excited to start those initiatives where we can like have people sign up and get the hand covered for them, or at least heavily subsidized so that they can afford it, and then really get many of these out there. And hopefully we can partner up with more of these YouTubers too. I mean, the Hacksmith collaboration has just been incredible. Yeah. And who knows, maybe there's Mr. Beast down the line or something like that too, or Mark Rober and others who we've always had our eyes set on. It sounds like, it looks like we've got a question here. So we said, quick question, do you accept other forms of support for your business? I'm a big fan of your company, would like to donate music, video editing, and voiceover recordings free of charge pro bono. That's interesting. I guess, yeah, and I guess Joe as the media guy, like, yeah, I mean, you want to just talk about your process a bit and like how something like that could even streamline into that? For your promotional videos, social media activities, and other promotional projects, that is, if you find this kind of support useful, and of course accept this kind of support.
Yeah, we'll think about it. Yeah, I mean, it's always cool to incorporate. I mean, kind of like part of the ethos with like the StartEngine campaign is like being able to have the users or like people who are like in our community kind of be able to participate, and so being able to see other ways to have people participate could also be cool.
Yeah.
We'll have to think up some projects and we'll keep in touch. Yeah.
Yeah. Feel free to shoot us an email at info@psionic.io and we can see what can be done there. I think that'd be kind of fun to explore. And if nothing happens, that's fine too. But like, definitely like hit us up there. And then TM Tsunami says hi. Hi, TM Tsunami. Good to see you on the live stream over here. And we've got quite a few who've joined on Instagram as well too. Hamid, yes, thank you for being a big supporter of what we're doing. And we love to see our supporters and interact with them as much as possible as well too. All right, yeah, great. Yes, so Zombie, hopefully we'll hear from you. We'll hear from you soon over the email as well, and see what might be possible there too. So let's see what the count is at currently. And so last I remember checking, we were at like 970. So 973. All right. So pretty close. We were getting there. Like about 26, 27K left to go to 1 million. And like I said, super excited to get there. In total, again, we're already over 4 million raised over the last year, and I think that's like an exciting place to be. And it's just going to be really, really awesome to see where all this stuff is going over the next couple months, next year. And yeah. What are some of the things you're most excited about over the next year?
Like I like seeing, like kind of how I touched on earlier, seeing more users get the hand.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's also so cool seeing local users, because like at the hangout, like during the pool hall and stuff, it's just cool seeing how the community kind of forms around it. And
and I guess recently in the last couple months too, we started like a Discord for our users, and it's basically like this amazing community of like support, just showing like, you know, when people are running into any issues, and they can get help from other users, and like our support team, and Ani, and like our clinical support manager, Anissa, who's a PT, and Alyssa, our clinical support specialist, who's an OT. So we've got a PT, and OT, and a user on staff to help support all of our users. And some of the things that, like, some of the videos they have shown, like, sent to us over the Discord are just like awesome. Like Sean Melendi, like one of our users, he was like putting like an engine together, and I thought that was just like super cool that he was able to put an engine together. And then Xavier, who actually stopped by earlier today too, like he showed us using a lathe with the hand, and I was just like, dang, that's really awesome. And that's, I guess that's one of the most things I'm excited about too, is just seeing like more and more of the things that our users are going to be doing, and like just getting more user generated content. And that's something that was kind of big for us over the last couple of months. We generated a lot of videos with Ani doing like all sorts of like cool things, right? So, or not cool things, but like just activities of daily living, right? And so if you go to our website, you can see like all these videos on like just tutorials on how to do things like tie your shoelaces, and she does it so fast, like so fast. And I was telling her the other day too that I was like, she can tie her shoelaces with her bionic hand faster than I can tie my own shoelaces with two natural hands, and it's just like, it's nuts to me. And like just things as simple as like like moving or like, you know, pushing a shopping cart in the grocery store, and like grabbing things off the shelves, and cutting vegetables, and what are some of the other things that
folding laundry,
yeah. And holding a laundry basket is like one, and pushing the shopping cart. I feel like we get that so often from like we hear that so often from so many prosthetics users. It's like something as simple as that just seemed like really difficult. And so we wanted to show like this is how our users do it, and they're easily able to handle these tasks, as well as, you know, some of the crazier ones too, like flaming board breaking, or golfing, or like paragliding, and things like that. And so last year we also did Comic-Con with a lot of our users, and we're excited to hopefully do Comic-Con again. We put in our application to do another panel for bionic hands in the real world, so that's going to be hopefully really exciting and successful again. I think we haven't released this video yet, but we did the Psionic Grand Prix, and I think it might be cool to like do that again, if we can make that a yearly event of just having people like our users like race against each other, and having it a yearly competition of who's the bionic K1 speed racing champion. I think that would be so cool, and just like a really cool showcase of what our users can do, and what the ability hand can do as well. Yeah, so I'm trying to think of what other like exciting things like are on the horizon.
Yeah, I mean, like, it sounds kind of dull, but I actually am looking forward to doing more tutorial videos and stuff.
Yeah,
it's gonna seems like super useful, and
yeah.
I'm also learning a lot in the process of how, you know, like the OT side of things work, and I'm translating that to have it in a more useful manner, as opposed to like, because I think a lot of the things that I'm hearing a lot is that it's hard to find like central information for a lot of these things, and outside of like going specifically to like professionals and stuff. And so it would be nice to have, you know, we're working on it, but like have more resources out there for the community and stuff.
Yeah, and particularly for like bilateral users, or like quad users as well. Excuse me. And so I'm excited to get more of that content out there too. And you know, it's interesting because the tutorial videos are like so important and useful too. I mean, even on the like robotic side. And this is one of my like favorite stories to tell too, is that so last summer, like it was literally Ani's second day of her internship second week of her internship with us. And I'm basically like, hey Ani, we got to go to Houston so that we can visit NASA, who's using our hand on a humanoid astronaut robot, right? And I was dying to get this picture, and it's one of my favorite pictures of all time that you were able to capture, of Ani fist bumping like the NASA humanoid astronaut robot using the exact same hand. And I remember they were having the Valkyrie, the robot, like do this task on the wall, which was like to unzip like this like a zipper that was on the wall, and they were struggling with using the robot to do it. And so Ani goes up to it and easily she does like a key grip and is able to do it. And the NASA engineers were just like, oh, we didn't even think about using that grip, right? And it's like, the thing is, we've optimized our hand for human users to use, so it makes sense that the robots use the same thing. And it might not be the exact same way that a natural hand might do it, but our users have adapted to do all of these tasks with the hand. And so by giving these tutorials, it like not only helps the human users, but also the robotics researchers in accomplishing these exact same tasks that our users are doing. And so that's why it's so cool to see the applications on both like the robotic side and the human side. And actually, we another thing that happened literally this week is Berkeley. So one of our Berkeley, their AI research lab, so Bear, some of the groups there have our hands up there. And so Toru, one of the graduate students there, she sent us a couple videos of just like the hands that she put on like two robot arms, just doing super cool things. And like, I mean, like, can you, like, what are some of the things that they were doing? Like,
yeah, so if you look at our most recent post, it should be up there. It's a compilation of videos. There's one where it's like pouring wine in a glass, and then there was one where it's like transferring. It was called like slippery transfer or something like that.
Sure, yeah.
So it was like a banana,
right?
Yeah. And just having it grasp the banana, and be able to swap hands. And so the way that we paired the videos is that they also did this with like the traditional like grippers on robotic arms. So like I did like split screen, like top was a building hand, bottom was the grippers.
Yeah.
And so it showed like how like more smoothly and more easy it was with the ability hands. And then there was playing a video game that was cool.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that was nuts when I first saw that. I was like, the hands are literally playing I think it was Hollow Knight, and it was like using like an Xbox controller or like a place
Meta Quest 2. So this is all. Oh yeah, but
the Meta Quest 2 was controlling the hands that was controlling the video game controller, which I think was like an Xbox controller or something, or a PlayStation. Yeah, like a DualShock. And that was controlling Hollow Knight, and I was just like, what? That is absolutely crazy. I was not expecting that was going to be possible and doable. But I mean, again, like these are the things that the robotic side is teaching us, like what is possible as well too, so that we can inform the human side, and then vice versa. The human users are doing all this stuff that the robotic side didn't even know was possible, so that the robots are doing the same thing. It's just like this amazing, like symbiotic relationship between like robots and humans that I think is just really, really cool to witness and see. And honestly, like this, I feel like this is unique and it's like never really been seen before over the last like 10 years. And so, I mean, I remember like we had some researchers come visit us recently from Nancy Pollard's group at CMU, and they were showing us like these different tasks that they were doing with like a compliant like hand that they had like 3D printed in the lab, and they had this set of tasks that I think they called like I forgot what it was called, like the dash test or something like that. It was like all these like 30 activities that they wanted their hands to do, and they were showing that their hand could do all of these tasks. And it was like, whoa, this is on the robotic side. This is like this like a set of tasks that they have robotic hands do. It's very similar to the occupational therapy tasks that we have our users do. And it would be so cool to do a side-by-side comparison of like our human users doing the robotic hand tasks and the robot hand doing like the human user occupational therapy tasks. And this like writing up like a study that shows like, you know, this crossover between like the human user side and the robotics user side in a way that's really never been done before, because our hand is dual purpose. It works for both of those systems, and that's just, it's going to be really interesting to see.
Yeah. One like last thing, it's not like super important, but it's not out yet, but we were filming on like nailing a nail into the wall to hang a photo.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, it doesn't always work the way you might think it would.
Right.
And so, you imagine you hold the nail this way, but because the hand can rotate, it's like upside down holding it. So it was interesting seeing those types of things being done. And definitely on the robotic side, it's interesting to see how they adapt those as well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Oh, looks
Yeah.
like there's
couple
some
of
comments,
yeah.
on the Instagram too. So, what does that one say? As an occupational therapist, I would love to participate in the research, and I mean, it's so awesome having an occupational therapist on staff. Like Alyssa is amazing, and what the great thing about that is too is that we can like officially do a lot of those research tasks that a lot of the researchers do, especially like at the Shirley Roundability Lab, where we've got like a lot of our partners are there, and like in the Center for Bionic Medicine there, where they're doing a lot of these tasks there, and so we can do them in house. And one of my favorite videos as well is when Ani was doing the ACMC like suitcase packing task. And where she has this like giant suitcase and she's just like trying to pack it as fast as possible and use all the different grips of the hand in order to do it. I'm like, this is awesome. And I think we might even try doing some like cybathlon level tasks as well too, which I think would be really cool as well. So there's another comment says, I would like to have a prosthesis like that. Yeah, shoot us a message and then we can see what we can do. And right now, clinically, we've been focusing on the U.S. Hopefully, next year we'll be able to expand outside the U.S., especially with the institute and really getting into like developing nations and everything like that. Too. And it looks like there's some comments on over here too. Let's see. How can I be a part of the mission? Well, one of the easiest ways right now that you can immediately be a part of the mission is by investing in the company. We've got about like 4 hours left on the campaign. We're at 974,000. It's ticking up, so just a little bit over 25K left to get to 1 million. Really excited about that, and really just like push the boundaries of what we're going to be doing. That's one of the most immediate ways you can get involved right now. And then let's see, if you had
I'll add on to that. In the future with the Sonic Institute, we will be having more campaigns because that's more of like we're basically subsidizing the hand for people who cannot afford it. So like they will have maybe a donation page or something if you'd like to support that way.
Yeah.
But for now, I guess follow along our journey and whatnot.
And hopefully we'll have like some big media things coming up soon over the next year or so too. I mean, like I said, this week we've already been on the news twice: ABC San Diego and Fox News New York earlier today. And it's going to be really cool to just really grow these initiatives and turn this into something like really huge and special as well too. And so, okay, let's see. If you had a crystal ball showing the future of the company, the industry 10 years down the line, what's one thing you wish you could see? Oh man, that's a good one, and I think it's part of in line with one of the big initiatives that we're doing right now, which is the implanted electrodes. And that's another thing I'm excited to get started on over the next like 1 to 2 years, not even like 10 years down the line, right? So even more immediately than that, like our first patients getting implanted with these like micro wire fine electrodes that are being implanted into the nerves directly, and then really enabling individual finger control so instead of doing like these pre-programmed grips like a power grip or like a pinch, for example, that they can actually have volitional control over each individual finger. And we really believe that by doing these implanted electrodes that they'll be able to get to that level. But not only that, when you touch the fingers on our hand, that it would stimulate those nerves and it would actually feel like the fingers that aren't there anymore. And I think that's going to be huge. And in the next 10 years, I'm hoping that becomes even more seamless and that it feels like the hand is just like an extension of the body and like as a part of it, as opposed to just feeling like a tool that's at the end of it. So that's one of the things that I see for like the industry and like the company 10 years down the line. I guess there's a whole humanoid robot side too, just a lot more humanoid robots that are out there as well.
The crystal ball, you're hoping that this all pans out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What about you? What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, like you're like the expert in the industry, right? So you would know better than I. But better than me, but I'm interested to see how our different product lines expand.
Sure.
Like because working on like wrists, elbows.
That's true.
Expanding the legs.
That's right. We got a 5-year goal of making an ability leg to do a triathlon, and so I guess that's another one, right? So like seeing our users do a triathlon with our leg, right? And that leg, the goal is to have that osseointegrated, so directly connected to your bones and your nerves as well too. And I think that's just going to be really exciting. Yeah. And a lot of the same tech that we've developed into the hand itself can directly be used for knees and ankles as well too. And so that's going to be super exciting. And we've got, I was going to just add that we've got a couple more mechanical engineers who are going to be starting here in the next couple of months. So Chris and Jordan, I think that's going to be really exciting to round out that team to like usher in like, the wrist and the elbow and like the Mark 10 of the hand that's going to be smaller and stronger and like be made of like carbon fiber interior and things like that, which I think is just going to be a game changer as well. Yeah.
I guess like outside of our own like plans that we know that we're trying to execute on, like are there any like industry trends and stuff that you're curious about, I guess, maybe like in kind of just a follow-up to that question.
Yeah, and so I think some of it will come down to adding more like movements in the hand as well. But what's harder on that side is just really being able to control like those really like extra, like what we call them degrees of freedom, or like joint movements in the hand. So like spreading the fingers apart, for example, like 4 different movements in the thumb, right? And then like independently controlling like this joint versus like your full finger movement in particular. And so, I mean, those are things like we can add to the hand, but the thing is, if you don't have a really good way of controlling that from like your muscles then, or your body, then it's not going to work very well. And that's historically what we've seen. And it's one of the reasons why we're so excited about doing the implanted nerve electrodes, is so that we can like actually see if we can accurately decode those extra movements. And if we can accurately decode them, then we're going to add them in. And I remember like one of our users, Dan St. Pierre, he was telling us that he would just love to be able to like spread his fingers apart, and if we can like accurately decode that from his muscles and his nerves, I think that would be like really beneficial for him too, just like so he can like feel that sensation again of like being able to spread his fingers apart. But even before that, we gotta learn to crawl before we can walk, and walk before we can run, right? So we gotta first get individual finger control solid before we would even start adding in a lot of those extra motions and degrees of freedom and everything too. So for those of you who are just joining us, we're doing a live stream with 4 hours left on our equity crowdfunding campaign. We're so close to raising like $1 million on this campaign. And if you combine it with what we raised previously for the crowdfunding session that we closed in January, we're over a $4 million raised, which is like a huge accomplishment. We're super excited and about that, and we would love to get this campaign over $1 million before it closes at the end of the day. And we're just talking about all the crazy cool things that have happened over like the last couple of months since our last crowdfunding campaign, including like Shark Tank and BMW and like a day in the life with Ani and our users, and like Berkeley showing like off cool things with the hand, being on the news multiple times, and what's going to be happening in the future with like in the immediate future with hopefully another Comic-Con in the works. As well as like clinical trials like in the next year or two for the implanted electrodes, and a lot more user-generated content with with many of our users, and hopefully more like bilateral and quad users as well too. So really excited about that future. And so I guess, Joseph, are there any other videos that you can like tease that might be in the pipeline coming out soon, or?
Right now I feel like it's just some tutorial videos, and then we'll see how the K1 turns out. But after that, we're caught up.
Well, I guess there's the Ecuador. The Ecuador trip, yes, which was huge for us, right? And I guess last September, you, me, Jesse, and like my wife Whitney and my 2 kids, we went down to Ecuador, and finally, after 9 years of of developing this hand. Like what started with him, like making a pinch with his left hand for the first time in 35 years with like Mark II of the ability hand with wires going everywhere, plugging in breadboards, power supplies, the wall and everything. And a hand that was like 3 times the size of their average adult human hand. After 9 years, we finally delivered to him the latest version of the ability hand that he's using on a daily basis. And like our director of engineering, who was our very first employee, was my undergraduate student. I'd never seen him like cry before, and like to see him like emotional, I was just like, all of us were basically emotional. Just like it was so cathartic seeing this after like so many years that we were able to get to a point where Juan could like he just like it worked, like everything just worked, and it was like, wow, like we're blessed. I'm incredibly grateful for moments like that. And we released a little bit of a teaser, I think, like a trailer about that, like just a couple months ago, and really excited to kind of like show everyone like the whole like story of us going down there and just how far it's come.
Yeah. I don't know if what's the plan, if we're going back down again.
We'll probably end up going back down there again too, just to check in on everyone and get some more footage on how things have been going after, like, I guess it's been like 6 months maybe since we made our last trip, and just to like really like close the loop on that. Chris said, love the limb loss and limb differences informational content. Yeah, so I guess that's something we this month, and I guess we're closing out this month, which is limb loss and limb difference awareness month. And we've been posting a lot of informational content on just like what it means to have a limb difference and things like that. Yeah, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I mean, yeah, just participating in the month and just kind of like how I mentioned earlier, hearing that sometimes it's a little bit difficult to find resources, especially if you're new to this field. And so we're kind of trying to make it, raise awareness not only for those who are maybe like people with limb differences, but also people who might be falling on the robotic side or things like that. Just to like, open up the conversation and like get people more aware. And I think moving forward in the future, I think we would like to just generally have more of a balance of like informational content as well, just across the board. So yeah, it's kind of just starting the trend of, and if people, it seems like some people received it well, so
yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it was really cool to see a lot of generated content like that too. And we got another comment here too, from Hamza. Love my time working with Psionic as a graduate student. Looking forward to future opportunities as Psionic grows. Yeah, and that really it speaks to like as well, like how embedded we are with just like the research community and like and the universities in particular. And so when we started this, it was at the I was a graduate student at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, like developing these prosthetic limbs, and it was just like something I've wanted to do my whole life, and like we iterated generation after generation. But like we've had so many student interns and student like teams like work on the devices and to really get us to the point where we are now. Hamza being one of them, who had worked with us. And this was even on like the business side. So we had like, engineering teams, but also like business teams, just like look at our social media and just like for our financial projections and stuff like that. And it was just really cool to see that. And now we're in San Diego. I'm affiliate faculty at both UCSD and the University of Illinois in their bioengineering departments. I'll be giving a talk at University of Illinois next week for their robotics seminar. It'll be really cool to be back after like, oh man, I think it'll be over a year since the last time I've been back to Champaign, and just to see like, how things have progressed over there. But we're heavily involved with a lot of those things. And so at UCSD here, we worked with like one of their social media classes just to like do some analysis on like social media. So it was really cool seeing a lot of MBA students, a lot of people who are just really accomplished already, who are just taking this course to get their MBA and just really dive into like a lot of the things that we were doing. And you worked pretty closely with them too, didn't you?
Yeah, I think so. It was a couple years. We had a couple cohorts that we worked with.
Yeah,
and it was interesting seeing their analyses across the different platforms.
Yeah,
and stuff like that, and how different teams approached it. Yeah.
Yeah, so and all the platforms we happen to be like streaming live on right now too. And looks like we're over 975 now, so less than 25K to go. Super exciting. And yeah, I think that's going to be. I think we'll probably make it to hopefully 1 million in the next like 4 hours, and there might even be like a bunch of investments that haven't shown up as well too. And so yeah, we're gonna be running live for a little bit longer too. So if you guys have any questions, comments, like words of love or I guess hate too, I don't know, but we're all positive here, right? Just to really dive in deep on a lot of the things that we're doing and a lot of the initiatives that we're working on. Just to you keep saying, to usher in this new era of bionic limbs that we're doing. And I guess another thing that we're talking about growth here too. We had when we moved here, there were like 7 of us, and now there's like 23 like full-time employees that we've got. And with the latest one being finally, I have an assistant. Which is like I've needed for I feel like so many years. So Natalie, she just joined on board with us, and she's already been like just an incredible like asset, and just like getting things streamlined. And just to put it in context, like I think I had like 1,700 emails in my inbox like right before Natalie joined, and now it's like down to 850. So it's been cut in half because Natalie's awesome. And and it's just a testament to like how we're going to run things even more efficiently and just start scaling up. And just like it's going to be really exciting to see like how much faster we can go in building all this stuff, how much like we can like grow this company over the next couple of years. We're hopefully moving into a space that's 5 times bigger. We'll be hiring more people. I think we're still looking for like a regulatory / quality person. So any of you out there who know ISO 13485, we're looking for people who can help us with that on both like the ability hand side and some of this like implanted electrode side as well too. We've I think we just hired like so assistant was one of them, and like an app developer, a mobile app developer, who will be starting with us in just like another couple of weeks. So that's going to be really exciting that we'll have some new things going on there. Might have some like games that we've developed for users to train as well too. That's something that Jesse had done recently, our director of engineering. And I think we haven't posted this video yet, but he got Ani to control Cyberpunk 2077 just by using her muscles and just Bluetooth signaling that over. Like it emulated the mouse and keyboard essentially, and he was able to like drive him, or Ani was able to drive a motorcycle just by using her muscles, which I think was just super cool. And it's just like there's always so many of these fun things that are happening. We got a grant manager recently, so Tori. And she's been fantastic as well too. And we should be hopefully, fingers crossed, getting a $2.7 million DoD grant at the beginning of next year, just to like work on these implanted electrodes and these bone integration as well too with our partners at the Navy Hospital. So Dr. James Flint, who does the osseointegration, along with Dr. Frank Charapa at UCSD, and Dr. Kate Hinchcliffe, who's like a crazy amazing like hand surgeon who does like amazing like microvascular surgeries at UCSD. And we're so fortunate that we've got this amazing team here in San Diego, right? So we're pulling all these resources together to turn this into the bionics capital of the world. And I think it's going to be pretty awesome. Yeah.
It's cool seeing everything come together.
Yeah. And are we missing any comments on the other platforms too? I feel like I'm seeing some stuff, and
my eyesight has gotten kind of bad, so it's hard for me to read all.
So like, maybe we need to start making some bionic eyes too. So let's see, and let's see. I think there might be some on LinkedIn that maybe haven't gone through, or
I think LinkedIn's on here.
Is LinkedIn on there? Okay.
From LinkedIn.
Yeah, so just checking, making sure we're not missing anything here. But response has been really great.
I was one
And
here about someone who has a nephew who lost their.
so, sorry, was it? Yeah,
Yes.
Marie-
Yeah, someone, I guess, Michael. They also have a crowdfunding thing going on
got
for
it.
their nephew who is quad amputee.
Got it. And that probably will dovetail really nicely with the Institute as well too when we have that initiative hopefully
Yeah.
like really launching this summer, where we're going to help subsidize the cost for our users who are struggling to afford prosthetic care and things like that. So that's really exciting, and then hopefully we can work with them too, and then get them the care that they need too. And so we've got another comment here. I'm currently a mechanical engineering student at NYIT, planning to work on prosthetics in the future. Do you have any advice for what would be my best option after getting my bachelor's? And so this is from Frankie. So honestly, Frankie, the best advice that I usually give to students is do this stuff as much as you can outside of the classroom. Like, so the classroom will teach you the fundamentals, and that's really important on how to the physics behind things, and like stresses and strains if you're mechanical engineering, and how circuits work, and current and voltage and stuff like that for electrical engineering. But that being said, the most important thing, and this is kind of how we started too. I mean, I was a graduate student, but we started building this stuff on our own. We found instructions online on how to build these open source bionic hands. And so the first two hands, the very first one was based off the InMove humanoid robot that you could 3D print for $1,000 or something like that. And we modified it so it was just the arm. And then the second one was based off a very early open bionics design called Dexterous. And then we put our own electronics in there, and our first machine learning algorithms as well too. And then for us, Mark III, Mark IV, and Mark V, we open sourced all of those to give back to the community. And so you can actually find the instructions for building those on our websites. And if you can't find them, then just send us a message and we can point you to that as well too. And so that's really the best place to start. And this is, I mean, one of the greatest things about comparing the resources that people have now back to when we started. When we started, 3D printing was brand new. Consumer level 3D printing was brand new, and MakerBot was at the just releasing their first 3D printers, and everyone was starting to get a MakerBot, and it was just it was becoming this thing. And now any library you go to, every grade school you go to has 3D printers in them, and every kid knows what 3D printing is. And it's just whoa. When I was a student, I don't know if when you were a student that 3D printing was
it was towards the end of my education,
right? Yeah. And it's just crazy to think of my kids who are 8 and 6 years old, they know what 3D printing is. And I was man, I never had something like that growing up. What a time to live in. And so you can just go to Thingiverse or Instructables or and find just instructions on how to build these things. And that's the best place to start is with that. On the electronic side, getting an Arduino. We started our first 5 or 6 prototypes, Mark 1 through Mark 6, all use Arduinos and Teensies, which is an Arduino, uses the Arduino IDE for programming. And that was one of the best ways to get started and really start iterating and getting in on this. And if you go from there to the next step, which is we started using STM32 microcontrollers, and even they have tutorials on how to get started with STM32 discovery boards and things like that too. And so that's the next step. So start working on those microcontrollers, instead of 3D printing, you can start molding with silicone and rubber, or working at a machine shop, or your school's machine shop, and figuring out how to machine things, right? So you can just keep building and building on these skill sets. And then once you have all of those skill sets in place, that's what makes people really valuable in working at Psionic. And so Brody, one of our recent mechanical engineers that we hired, he's just a brilliant machinist and a brilliant mechanical designer at the same time. And we have this Haas CNC machine that we got, and that Jordan, who's going to be joining us soon, he used to work for Haas, right? And he knows how to do all these beautiful designs, but also then actually build them and machine them. And that's just such a critical skill that a lot of times you don't learn that stuff in the classroom. You learn that stuff by just like jumping in and learning and like visiting machine shops and working with machine shops. There's like hacker spaces like all over like big cities, and there's like Jordan worked at Lacey in Los Angeles. There's Makerspace One and M-Hop in Chicago, right? And those are just like amazing places just like learn these things about like manufacturing and just like prototyping and things like that. I think there's like the Makeatory in San Diego that's doing that stuff here too, and then like and then we're building up our own machine shop. We've got like a metal laser cutter, like a CNC mill. We just got a carbon fiber 3D printer. We're hoping to get a 5-axis lathe, but we can't fit it because we need a bigger space, so we're moving to a bigger space hopefully, and we'll have a 5-axis lathe as well too, and we'll be starting to like maybe developing our own gearing systems and like our like drivetrains and things like that in ways that we weren't able to do before. And that's going to be really exciting. So that's like the best advice I can give to students is like build this stuff outside of the classroom, really get like started in that and like jump right into it. And so
that does, I mean, some of that may sound like intimidating, but there are always ways to like, you know, take your baby steps into it. And like I worked at a place called the Fab Lab at University of Illinois, and it's like nonprofit, so they only charge you for like the cost of materials really, and so it's an easier way, and they have classes and stuff. So like there's a lot of resources out there for things like that. You just have to find them.
Yeah. Oh, and so I'm getting some Facebook messages that I'll need to let some people know too. And so what other? I mean, I guess you've been here now for a while, Joe, and so you've seen a lot of students come and go. And so what are some of the things that like that you've seen like with some of our most successful like student interns? Like what are kind of some of the backgrounds that you've seen they've had?
I think that's like a Lucy question.
Lucy's our director of operations who works a lot with our interns.
I mean, I'm not an engineer, so I don't know.
I mean, but I feel like you've talked with a lot of them, right? And so this is very interesting too, because you get to see an outsider's perspective and not necessarily like knowing all the nitty-gritty technical details on things, but also coming from like a like almost more like a humanistic side of things, like a cultural side of things, like what like the kind of culture that we've developed at Psionic. Yeah.
I mean, I think like from what I've observed, it is a lot of, I mean, like go-getters. Like the people have initiative here, and I think also kind of like I'm trying to think of. It seems like varied interest and experience, like interesting experiences, I guess. Like a lot of people we hired from like a lot of universities have like car teams. And so I feel like a lot of people come from there where they have experience in like, because when you're on a car team, a lot of like the solar car team, you have like experience in like the electronic side of things and manufacturing side of things. And like you were saying earlier, specifically like carbon fiber, which is like a big part of our hand. And like carbon fiber is like one of those things that it's a little harder to find, like do at like a makerspace or something like that. It's a little bit more, at least from my understanding, more of a unique or like higher end, maybe high end, maybe the right way to describe it, type of process. So yeah, especially if you're at a university, definitely look at like different engineering clubs and stuff like that, and other opportunities. And yeah, like one of our interns, Chris, he had a lot of different co-op opportunities from kind of a lot of, it's all mechanical, electrical engineering type stuff, but it was like, from what I remember, they were like kind of different and interesting backgrounds. Like one was like hacksmith, one was like a automated lawn mowing company or something like that.
Sure.
I forgot what the other ones, like a brake pad company or something like that. So yeah, like there are a lot of different areas where it may not seem like it's the direct thing that you want to work on, but it can be within like a tangential field, I guess, or the skills can be applicable, and you can take something from somewhere that it doesn't seem like it might be super applicable. I think Rhea caught your eye because she also was like an artist and stuff like that.
Yes. Exactly. So we all wear a lot of different hats here, right? And that's kind of one of the most exciting things about being in a startup is that, like, I mean, like, you might be one day like putting together like an art installation in the lobby, but the next day like filming like one of our patients to interviewing one of our employees, right? And then like, I mean, my role, like, I'm jumping in from like one day I'll be like filming, like we were filming something today earlier, right? And then like and then we might have like a user come in. We have like users come in like today and like throughout the weekend, and then the next day I might be working on engineering and talking with engineering teams and leading them, and so we kind of like fill in the gaps wherever those need to be filled in. And that's why our team has grown so much, like over the past couple of years as well too. And so we got a comment from Tamina online, and so I just responded to her too personally. But she was asking, what is the percentage return on investment, and how long will that take? What's the potential, do you think? And our current plan is to build this company up as big as possible, and potentially we might do an IPO in the next 3 to 5 years. And I mean, if we just look at our year-on-year growth for like this past quarter, we did 2.5 times the revenue that we did last year, like in quarter one. So we're on track to hopefully do like 2 times, like double our revenue this year when compared to last year. And so we're on a really great growth trajectory. And that being said, I mean, like Figure, one of our clients, right? They just raised $675 million on a $2.6 billion valuation, right? And they have our hand. And a lot of the other humanoid robot companies as well too. And so it's just really exciting to see this explosive growth and to be a part of that explosive growth that's going to be happening over the next couple of years. And so there might be potential exits in the meantime too that we're open to as well. We might do potential like share buybacks as well. But again, right now our current like drive and our current like plans are to just grow the company as big as possible, really get as many hands on this, as many people and robots as possible. Same with the wrist, elbows, legs, get this more seamless integration between the human body and these machines through neural integration and bone integration. And I think we're going to be helping a lot of people that way. And to me, that's the most important thing. And I think that's honestly the best return on investment. So fortunately, there will be a return just from the financial side too, but also just from the number of people that will be able to help. I think that's always been part of our mission, is making the most advanced bionic limbs more accessible than ever.
Yeah.
And let's see where we're at now. And it's cool because like I feel like every time I'm refreshing it just like keeps going up. So we're at 978. So just like a little bit over 21K left to go. It's really exciting to see. 4 hours left on the crowdfunding campaign as well, and it's going to be this is exciting. Exciting to see just so many people wanting to just join in our bionic revolution and help as many people as possible too.
There was this I don't know if this is a company, but someone mentioned another company. But I heard there was another company in San Diego that does bionic hands, I think.
In San Diego that does
I was on like a hike and someone mentioned it.
Hands or legs? I know there's a bionic leg
I don't, maybe they may have do you know what the
Limber?
No,
okay.
That was not the name. It was like, I don't know, but this person asked about what do you think about Optimus and their
yes. So Optimus. So it's really cool. I actually know the guy who in charge of building their hands too, and he came from one of the best like research labs in the world for doing this kind of stuff, which is Aaron Dollar's group at Yale. And so Michael Letty, he's awesome, really awesome individual. I think they did a great job on the Optimus, or at least from what we can see in the videos, right? I mean, it's to be determined, like what it's like in real life when we see it in real life too. But what they've at least been showing is really good, and really exciting too. And I mean, a lot of the stuff that they've been showing has been done in prosthetics for like a while now, as well too. And I don't know anything about their costs and things like that, but one of the things that like has really been like critical for us too is building something that could actually be like at an accessible price point that Medicare would cover. And like, to put things in context, like I mean, our hand on the pricing side is like between like $15,000 to $20,000, and like one of the most used like robot hands on the robotic side is like the Shadow robot hand. That's like $140,000, right? And it's inaccessible to a lot of projects. So we wanted to make like a hand that had like a lot of dexterity, right, where you could see all 5 fingers like flex and extend and the thumb rotate as well, but at a price point that like was amenable to both on the robotic side and the human side as well. And like one of my favorite stories as well too is one of our users, Mandy Pursley. She's a professional cosplayer, amazing individual. Like she's known for like making like these amazing like cosplays, and one of the most well-known ones is she made a glass hand for herself that was like, and she did this like Cinderella cosplay that got her on like the Kelly Clarkson show and things like that. But she was actually trying to get a bionic hand for a while, and she kept getting denied by insurance. And it's because a lot of times the prices were just like outpriced in what insurance would cost. And she was then able to get our hand because it was actually at a level that her insurance would actually cover. And I was like, this is a clear example of why we do what we do, right? And how we're able to hit our mission of making these advanced bionic limbs, the first one to touch feedback, faster than anything else that's out there, water resistant, USB-C rechargeable, but also covered by insurance, making it accessible so that people can actually get them. And that was really, really important to our mission as well. So let's see, there might be some other comments here. When it comes to job opportunities, would you recommend me to get my master's in other area after getting my bachelor's in mechanical engineering, for example, electrical engineering? So to be honest, at some level, the major doesn't matter. And I mean, for example, like, oh man, if we go into my majors, my undergraduate major was in biology. My master's was in computer science. I taught at Loyola then for a couple of years, and then I went to University of Illinois. Got another master's in electrical and computer engineering, a PhD in neuroscience, right? So this is like kind of all over the place, but what really mattered was what I was working on, right? And so the common thread through all of that was that I wanted to do like neural prosthetics, right? And even though I had a PhD in neuroscience, I was still working on like building bionic limbs. My master's in electrical and computer engineering, building bionic limbs, right? And again, it goes back to like, doing this stuff outside of the lab is the best way you can learn all of this stuff. And because this is such an interdisciplinary field, I mean, sure, you can switch over to electrical engineering from mechanical engineering, but at the end of the day, the most important part is what you're working on. And so if you're building like prosthetics or like building like mechanisms, you can do that in either mechanical engineering or electrical engineering. If you're going into grad school, I mean, I suppose I would recommend going into a lab that builds similar things to what you want to work with. So I was at the University of Illinois and the lab of Professor Tim Brettel, and we were like, I guess when I joined his lab, we were doing like brain machine interfaces. So these were like EEG based, like I think they were controlling like planes, like actual like planes that they built in the lab, like with their mind, just by thinking and moving left and right. It's like, wow, that's just like crazy and like amazing, right? But I wanted to specifically work on prosthetics, and so we figured out on our own, like we didn't have any prosthetics being built at the University of Illinois, so we started it ourselves, and that had a huge learning curve. But we started by like bits and pieces, starting with an Arduino, working our way up, like learning how to make a motor move on an Arduino, learning how to make a light blink on an Arduino, and then starting to put that together, looking at open source designs and going that way. So again, I keep going back to it. The best thing you can do is just to start building the stuff outside of the lab, or turn it into your own graduate work in particular. Yeah.
So like, was that like you said, like I guess, if this person is by themselves, like, did you like seek out a team first, or how did you go about assembling like in the very, very original days? Like if you were like starting over, right? Like, did you already? I mean, you were already kind of teaching and stuff, so I'm assuming that's how you had some connections, right?
Well, I mean, a lot of it came down to, that's a good question, because a lot of our research was never funded, right? And so that kind of forced us to think in a different way and like find people in a different way too. And so we took advantage of a lot of the resources that the University of Illinois had. And so there were like undergraduate like research programs that you could get involved with, and so we would get like students through that, or like independent studies, and like that, like for every like electrical engineering independent study student that we would get like $500 from the Alumni Association, and basically every semester we would fund $500. And like, it's crazy to think that, especially like for any of you, if you like, if you come to San Diego, like come over and visit us, because like the lab's a robotics paradise, but we have all of our old prototypes in glass cases along the wall. And the first 5 prototypes, Mark 1 through Mark 5, I think we spent a total of like $5,000. And for like hardware, like a full like functional like hand, that's ridiculously low, right? Like that's unheard of that we only spent like $5,000 to do all of that, right? But that's the thing, right? It's doable. It's possible to do this like on just like these short budgets. We found a lot of our people as well too through these like makerspace like places, right? And so our university had this place called the Open Lab, where it was basically like the only rule in the Open Lab, or like one of the only rules, was that you can't work on homework. If you were on homework, working on homework, they were gonna kick you out. You can only work on outside projects in the Open Lab. And that was brilliant. I loved it, because then everyone you meet at the Open Lab, they're all like people just like you, who are just building this stuff for fun and learning all these like useful techniques. And like a lot of our early employees we would get from the Open Lab, if they were from like Atlanta Solar Car, like you were mentioning earlier, or like other car teams, or like design build fly, where they were like designing planes and building them and then flying them, and like EV concept, and like a bunch of these like teams that required you to build something that actually works in the real world, and you needed to like get it out there. And I think that made just like all the difference, right? That they knew what it took to actually get something out in the real world, and like us, they were willing to put in the work, the blood, sweat, and tears to get to this point. Like the 80 hours a week that I'm still working, like every week, in order to like get the best outcome for our patients, using the hands and everything. And so yeah, so go to maker spaces, like meet other people there. It's easy to find other people who might find similar interests to you. Like join the labs that are building this stuff. Talk to the labs. Like we talk with so many other labs like across the entire U.S. Like the Center for Bionic Medicine, like Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Lab over there. Like many of them at the University of Illinois, like Liz Shaw Wexler's group that was building like ankle foot orthoses and exoskeletons, and like John Rogers's group, right, building flexible and stretchable electronic devices, and then all of his like students that went on to like Georgia Tech and like Stanford and all those other places as well too. So there's so many resources that are available at your disposal to do this stuff.
Was that before, like, I guess, what stage were you contacting all these kinds of other groups? Like, was that like from the get?
That was from the beginning. That was from the absolute beginning that I was trying, because at first my dream place to work had always been the Center for Bionic Medicine at the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab. And like I would just like apply to like every job that they would always have, and then it was like a shot in the dark email that I'd sent to their current director, Levi Hargrove, like 10 years ago, saying like, hey, we're doing like all this all these like brain machine interface stuff, this could be applicable. And he like got me like a phone call, and I had funding through like the National Science Foundation, through like a new neuroengineering training program that the University of Illinois had gotten through the National Science Foundation. And so I was able to use that funding to like do an internship at the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab, and it was the coolest thing. Like that place is just absolutely incredible. Like it's the #1 rehabilitation hospital in the U.S. for a reason, right? Like And every time I go there, I just love being there because it's just such a vibrant environment, and all the people there are just so cool and so amazing to work with. Like from their OTs like Christy Turner, and like their prosthetists, their research prosthetists like Laura Miller, and it's just so cool to get to work with the amazing teams there. And so that was like from the get-go, that's what we were trying to do. And it was just like, it's still like 2.5 hours away from us in Champaign, Illinois. And like they had all the amazing, like really expensive bionic limbs. But as we've learned over the many years, is that those very expensive bionic limbs are breaking all the time too. And we didn't want to be the ones to break them, right? And so we were like, we're engineers at one of the top engineering institutions in the world, at the University of Illinois. Why don't we start building our own bionic limbs? And that's kind of how we started to like look at open source designs and started working our way all the way up from there. And this wasn't overnight. This taken like almost a decade now to get to this point. And in my head, I feel like this is still just the beginning. Like this is just the beginning of like, we have all this amazing technology, but there's so much more potential and so many more incredible things that we're going to be doing with our patients with like I mentioned the implanted electrodes, like brain implants, right? Like last year we had one of our collaborators at the University of Chicago, unfortunately the late Sleeman Ben Smaya, one of the foremost neuroscientists in the world. He had a patient who had who got in a car accident, I believe, like 4 or 5 years ago, and they put brain implants in him. And so just by thinking, he was able to move our hand on an external robot arm and shake the host of 60 Minutes' hand. And then they blindfolded him and started touching the fingers, and they stimulated the area of the brain. And he was like, that's my index finger, that's my middle finger, that's my ring finger. And it was just like incredible to see that like we're at this stage where, 20, 30 years ago, we could never do something like this, right? And then we've got like, like there's all these other new companies, brain machine interface companies coming out, like Neuralink and Synchron and Paradromics. And I think it'll just be really cool to see what, like how our technology can interface with those brain machine interfaces coming up over the next couple of years. And it's going to be exciting. And so let's see where we're at now. And I think we last left off at like 978. We're at 985, so less than 15K to go. Super, super exciting before we hit $1 million. And we would love to have you guys join on and become a part of our bionic revolution too. Let's see. I don't know if there's any other comments that we've been missing. Let's see. This is from Michael Illy. Hey, Aadeel, I interned in Psionic in summer of 21. I've been following the company's growth over the years, and I love the mission. Michael, it's great to hear from you, and I hope you've been doing well. I think you were a high school student when you had interned with us at Psionic, and that was just like an exciting time. I feel like it's always like an exciting and exhilarating time too. I remember that summer was when we were first started doing some of our like first cadaver tests as well too, and we actually brought like cadaver arms in the lab so we could like test out some of these surgeries that we wanted to do, connect like our hand and fingers like directly to like the tendons and bones of the hand. And like even then, like we always like had an eye for like the future of this technology, like where we're gonna go with this, and there's like the seamless integration between the human body and machines and everything, and like and that's, I guess that's kind of why I feel like we're always like, this is just like the start of something like huge. And the space we're in is 2.5 times bigger than what we were at the University of Illinois, and we're going to move into a 5 times bigger space. But even when we move there, it's still going to feel like the start of something just like super huge that we're on the cusp of doing. And it's so exciting to see like a bunch of our old like interns, like our former interns, our former employees, like just spread like words of like love of just like working with us, and I guess it's again a testament to the culture that we created at Psionic, where it's just like a group of like crazy cool hackers just trying to like really push the boundaries of what's possible with bionic technologies, but at these price points that are actually affordable and accessible, using like as many off-the-shelf components as possible, and or like building things in-house ourselves. And it's special. It's been really special to just witness the growth of and just the career trajectories of all of our former like interns and employees and our current employees as well.
Yeah.
I mean, even when we got you on board too, I mean, it was just an exciting time because that was right before we did our nationwide launch back in like 2021,
Yeah.
right? And I remember talking to you about some of like these big plans and big ideas that I wanted to do, like arm wrestling with a bionic hand, and like we were able to like get the State Farm Center at the University of Illinois, the basketball arena, and I just remember like being in like a huddle like right before we like walked in like through the same like corridors that like the basketball team like goes through and like right on like the like the basketball court around like the entire like bleachers and everything and it was just like this is something to remember that that's going to be cool to have documented for the rest of the company's life and like the rest of my life. Yeah.
That was. I remember that was kind of like a last minute, like, can we get the space or not situation.
Oh man, and I think I had like talked to like the chief marketing officer, basically like the head of communications of like all of the University of Illinois, Robin Kaler, and I was like, Robin, can we make this happen? And like she was just like trying to like get us like make this happen and I'm so glad we did because I think it was like that video in particular was also like our love letter to the University of Illinois and because I just remember that by the time we released, actually I think we knew that we were going to move. We weren't sure whether it was going to be Chicago or San Diego at that point. And like, the University of Illinois was just so integral into just like everything that we had did and like developed and built. And it was just like, it was a great like way to really commemorate that time that we were there at Enterprise Works, like growing this company. And then I remember when we did the flaming board breaking video, that was like my love letter to like, being in Champaign-Urbana for like the last like 11 years of my life. And, that was the place, that was the house that we filmed that in, was like where our kids, like we brought them home after being born, like they learned to walk there. And it was just like this incredible like growth time. And, it's really interesting on that note too, that Psionic was incorporated like a week or two before Zane, my firstborn son, was born, and so it's like I always know how old the company is based on how old my son is, and and you see like his growth, like he's like 8 years old now, and like he's like tall, he's like talking, he's like he remembers like all this stuff, and he's just like, and honestly he feels like a young version of myself. I see so much of myself in him. And I just, I love him so much for that. And it's just like so cool to see that he's grown so big. And then like the company has grown so big at the same time too. And like he's going to continue to grow over the next 8 years. And like the company is also going to continue to grow over the next 8 years. And it just always feels like we're on the cusp of something like huge. And it's definitely exciting to see the growth of the company on the media side, on like on the personal side as well too.
Yeah, dang. That's I mean, like I already knew that story. So like just hearing it again, it's like dang. Yeah.
And you've documented a lot of it too. I remember the day that we were moving out, like you were like filming a lot of it and like getting some interviews with me and Whitney, just like and like being emotional after like being in that house for like 11 years. And like we had Manu, who runs the iVenture Accelerator at the University of Illinois. And like he and I basically got into this like 26-foot U-Haul with my Prius in tow, and we drove it like nonstop. Like we started like Friday night and drove nonstop all the way to Phoenix, like 22 hours straight or something like that, just trading off who was sleeping and who was driving. And that was just again a testament to like how dedicated like we all are to all of this stuff. And like Manu was just here in San Diego just like for a couple months, and we just recorded a podcast with him too, so hopefully that'll come out in the next month or so. So that'll actually be fun.
Yeah.
A fun change of pace as well too. So so we're currently at 998,000. So we're so close, literally so close to $1 million. This is super, super exciting. Less than $2,000 left, less than like $1,300 left to get to 1 million. And it looks like there was another comment here. Or
what forms of media and advertising do you guys use right now to spread your company name?
Yeah, so actually, do you want to take this one since you're our creative specialist?
Yeah, honestly, like I feel like a lot of it is just organic stuff that we're just posting on. I think we have like. What's nice is that there's like we have a Aadeel presence on social media, then we have a Psionics presence on social media, and Adeel's pretty big on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Yeah,
and then Psionics, I think ours is more leaning on Instagram and
YouTube
and Facebook. Right?
Yeah.
And then it is like. We do run like paid stuff. Like I think on the start, we were running paid the whole time. Nothing too crazy with like it's just recycled stuff that we've already posted for the most part.
Yeah.
But just as like promoted posts. And then like just for things that with like news, like local news.
Yeah, it's all been earned media.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's just been spreading the word out there in particular. And I mean, part of our our media strategy has always been to like kind of make these like viral style videos, right? And like these challenge videos and like the day in the life video with Ani, just like really showcasing like the cool things of our hand. And then I think like in 2022, half of our sales came from social media, which for a FDA registered medical device is like unheard of, right? And we have 0 sales reps, and we just go to trade shows and we just put out videos on social media, and so I mean, and then we get to do like awesome collaborations like with the Hacksmith, right? And those were incredible as well too. And that came about because Chris, our intern from last year, will be joining us full time in a month. He interned previously at the Hacksmith, and he was like, "Hey, do you want me to make an intro?" And then and that happened, and the Hacksmith flew down here and toured our lab, and like it was just such a surreal, almost surreal experience, like getting to see like a YouTuber has like 14 million subscribers, like do just like an episode with us on there. So it's been a combination of a lot of those things. Like when we went to South by Southwest last year, not this year. Ryan, one of our users, did like a TikTok video with free water where he like grabbed the hand with his like bionic hand and even like rotated 360 degrees, and it was just like that. I think it got like 4 million views on TikTok and 12 million views on like Instagram. And it was at the same time that like I had like a WhatsApp like video go viral of me just explaining the hand at the dinner table of one of our users in San Diego, and that was around the same time that 60 Minutes had released using our hand with the brain implants with the University of Chicago. And it's just like all these things coming together, and none of that was paid. Like we didn't pay for any of those ads at all. That was all just like organic, like earned media. And it's just again like a testament to like the cool factor of everything that we do. And so I remember seeing the Hacksmith episode too. Yeah, that was pretty cool. And he said that's incredible because I'm a marketer, and anytime I see someone growing organically, it means the product is spot on. So kudos to you. Thank you. So and that's kind of like the most. One of my favorite parts of the company is just making these like fun and cool videos, like the Halloween video we did last year where I got locked out of the office and we had Abby, the ability dog, like chase me around and then hand me the keys at the end of it, right? And it's just fun brainstorming a lot of that stuff, and we have some really fun. I feel like we're gonna make some cool Abby videos soon too. We got those in the pipeline. As well. So yeah, expect to see more videos of Abby the ability dog, hopefully this summer and throughout the rest of this year too, in addition to a lot of the user generated content we'll have too. Oh, but we've got a couple more comments here too, and let's see. We're at 999,000, so less than $1,000 to go to get to 1 million. Okay, so let's see. Hi, Dr. Aadeel. I'm from Sri Lanka. I was just reading an article from my IEEE Pulse website. Now I love Psionics Vision. I'm a mechanical engineer undergraduate. Really like to support your mission. Thank you so much. It's great to see love, especially like internationally, for all of the stuff that we've been doing. Thank you. And let's see, from Eugenio. Hi, I was looking at Psionic's logo. Do you mind explaining it? And what does it mean? Also, why was the company named Psionic? Yeah, it's a great question. And so the company was named Psionic because it actually is so we were doing like psychology and neuroscience research and combining it with bionics, and so we were like, okay, so it's psionic, and that's why it's PSY, like psychology-ish, right? But also psionic means to be able to control things with your mind. So like, Jean Grey from X-Men has like psionic abilities where she can like move things with her mind, and that's kind of what we're doing with these bionic limbs. You think about moving it, and then it transfers down your nerves to your muscles, and that will actually control the hand itself too. So like psionic just meant or just like felt right for that. But the Y, the psionic Y, that's part of our logo in particular. That is actually 3 neurons. So it's like 2 neurons on the top projecting onto a 3rd neuron. And usually we have a gradient. So like it's a red gradient that fades. And so if you look at Joseph's t-shirt, it's a little bit hard to see, but there's like a red gradient at the top of the Y. And it's kind of like the neurotransmitter is like from going across the synapse, transmitting from the top 2 neurons to the bottom one. But also retroactively, I suppose a lot of people said it kind of looks like 2 hands coming down, and so I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that kind of works as well too. But it's actually 3 neurons. All right, so let's see. How close to partial hand prosthetic prototypes is the company? I had a surgical amputation of my pinky and ring finger after an ATV accident. Very limited use of remaining digits. Appreciate all you are doing. Also invested. Thank you for your support, Brian. So it's still going to be a little bit of time before we have partial hand prosthetics. So one of the things that we've been working on was like a finger that we could directly integrate into your bones and your residual tendons. But because anything that's going to be invasive is going to take a while to get through like FDA approval and clinical trials and things like that, it might be like 3 to 5 years before we actually get something out there. But that is something that's on our radar. We have some really exciting stuff, like I was mentioning, with like directly implanting like a prosthetic finger to your bones and your tendons, which I think would be really, really cool and really useful. We might do some electronic stuff too on that front, but we'll see what happens over the next couple of years as well. So stay tuned and definitely keep in touch. It's great to have you on board as an investor. And we have Durlov saying, just bought some more shares. Love your enthusiasm. Thank you so much. It's great to have your guys' support and everything too. And do we have comments on Instagram as well?
Love the design. That's sick.
Nice.
And then there was another one asking, the goal is it to go public someday, possibly?
Yep. And so we're looking. Our current plan is to build this company as big as possible, and then hopefully within the next 3 to 5 years, we may do a potential IPO, which I think would be really exciting. And then there might be other exits that we're open to those as well too. So there are share buybacks in the meantime as well. And I think it's just going to be really exciting to see the growth of this company and then really, really grow this into something like huge and special as well too. And let's see if we're still at 999,000 or are we over? Oh, still there, still at 999K, so close to getting to the million. I feel like it's going to happen like basically any minute now. All right, so what was this say?
Oh, love the work. Put down $1,200 worth.
Oh, okay. Love the work. Put down $1,200 worth of shot. Good luck to us. Let's see. Did that put us over? Did that get us to the 999? Maybe that put us. Maybe that got us to the 999. So less than 1,000. Literally less than 1,000 left to go here. And I think, super excited to have everyone on board. All the returning investors, new investors, just to usher in this new era bionic limbs. Yeah.
So they did it 2 weeks ago.
Oh, he goes to 2 weeks ago. Yeah, okay. So that he contributed to the 999K, and we're so close to getting that up to a million soon too, with like about 3 hours left. 3 hours left to go. So I guess it's what 8:30 p.m. in Pacific time right now. So we've got like 3.5 hours. It's close at midnight. So we're definitely going to. I think we're definitely going to get there at this point too, which is just super exciting. So again, for those of you tuning in, we're doing a live stream just to close out this exciting equity crowdfunding round that we started right after being on Shark Tank. After like a bunch of crazy things that have happened just in the last month, like Mercedes-Benz, like using our hand with Aptronic to build cars, releasing the day in the life video, being on the news this week on ABC, and literally just earlier today on Fox New York. It's so many. South by Southwest, we were there this past month as well too. Like getting a lot more like robotics clients out there, and just a lot of excitement just being generated with all this stuff. Berkeley using their hand on like robots to like play video games, like so many cool things. Like even in just the last couple of months, ever since we raised 3.1 million already on the initial StartEngine campaign, I guess combined we're over like 4 million total on everything, and it's just super exciting to be here and really be at the cusp of like this bionic revolution that we're so excited to have so many people be a part of. And so let's see, are we still there? Okay, still there.
I feel like we have to wait.
I know we're gonna have to. I know. I'm just really excited. I'm just super excited to get to that point too. And so we're taking questions and like comments online. We got let's see. We just got some that said it would have been 1 million, but it wouldn't let me add an extra 1,000. No, I don't know why it wouldn't have let you add an extra 1,000, but hopefully. That can go through, or we can have more people get it. And then, how do we get one of those cool T-shirts? I think at some point we're gonna have to. Yeah, we're gonna have to start a merch store. And so I think we'll make that a goal this summer to start a merch store so people can get our T-shirts and everything too. So that'll be cool.
I know Chris really wanted a camping mug.
A camping
mug? The one that Jesse was using today, like the metal one.
Oh, sure. Okay.
With the Sonic logo on it.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, I think we definitely need to get a lot more swag. And I think that'll be really cool just to see. I mean, we've got so many investors and supporters that I think they would love to see a lot of that stuff and represent and support us that way too. I think that'd be awesome to spread the word out there as well. Yeah. I know we need like jackets and things like that too, which I think will be nice.
Little plushy pillow.
Yeah, right. That'd be cool. And so again, we're taking comments, questions. We'll be here for a little bit longer too, and would love to get your guys' support and thoughts and on everything too, on what you guys kind of want to see as well. It's interesting. We got a lot of like media people here and like marketing people on board too. And I'm just curious I would love to know like what kind of content they would like to see as well. I mean, I know we have a lot more user generated content that we're hoping to really get out there. And then on the robotics side, getting a bunch more out there with Abby the Ability Dog and some of our robotics users, and maybe more humanoid content out there as well too. And I think that'll be just really fun to see and just explore like where things are going with that. I mean, I guess we've had some pretty big like manufacturing like people purchase our hand recently too, including some of like the largest like robotics manufacturers in the world and like just the largest manufacturers period in the world too. And I'm just like, this is going to be exciting. Lots of excitement to come on that front. And then on the grant side too, a $2.7 million DoD grant, hopefully in January, that's going to be coming out to really like spearhead our efforts on the implanted electrode side and the bone integration side of things too. So just like I keep saying, this feels like it's just the start, getting to all of these like really big goals that that we've had, and you know, looking back on all of this too, I mean, like you think of like, you know, when you start a company and you have these like big hairy audacious goals, the BHAG, right, what they like to call in like the business world, right, and a lot of times like they never materialize, right, these BHAGs, like we talk about like getting to Mars and things like that, and eventually we will, right, but they take like 20-30 years, right, and for us, like, you know, we had this BHAG of making this like really advanced accessible bionic limb, and we've done it, right, we've gotten to that point where like we've built a hand that's covered by Medicare, and like we have close to 200 patients using. We've got more demand than we can produce. We want to get like build more of these hands so we can get as many people using them as possible, and so it's like it's so cool that we've achieved that, and now our dreams have become like even bigger, right? Like, how can we do this neural integration to get like the super fine control so that we'll be able to like have our patients play piano or type on a keyboard again and actually feel like it's the sensation is coming from their fingertips and all of that. So it's really exciting to see just like how we've been able to just like hit all these milestones, achieve our goals, and then like just keep like increasing it. And like one of our next, you know, like big hairy audacious goals is to build an ability like that our users will be able to do a triathlon in, so run, bike, and swim with the hand, with the leg. And San Diego is like the perfect place to do that. It's like the birthplace of the triathlon. We've got the Challenge Athletes Foundation, which holds the para triathlon challenge like every year, and we've got like the military hospital that has like really active like users and patients. We've got UCSD and the military hospital itself, like who have cutting edge surgeons who are ready to like do this stuff. And then we've got us building the devices. So it's like bringing all these resources together to really turn San Diego into the bionics capital of the world, which I know I've said so many times, but it's like we truly believe in that mission and that vision that's going to be happening over the next in the next several years. And so we've got a couple more comments coming through, and let's see what they say. Have a nice night, y'all. Hope you get to 1 million. Thank you, TM Tsunami, for your support on the Instagram side. Let's see what it says. Honestly, just seeing things from your guys' perspective, the mechanics and thought process and why and how you do it is amazing, because it gives a different mindset to look through. Thank you, Jacob. And I mean, and for us, it was like, I mean, I felt like we had a pretty unique mindset from the start as well too. On like it was just, you know, I guess it came down to a lot of like being like having perseverance and grit. I mean, like a startup is a roller coaster ride. You have like super low lows, super high highs, and fortunately for us, it's like we've experienced all of that, but the overall trajectory has been like increasing, and we've gotten to this point where we've been raising like over 4 million like on an equity crowdfunding campaign, and just in the last month raising like an additional $1 million, right? Let's see other comments.
Up to the wrist, it's waterproof.
Oh, responding to what? He was responding to what media we wanted. That's what his comment was. Is it waterproof? So yes, it is currently IP64 waterproof. So our patients, when they use the hand, they will, if it gets dirty, they literally take it to the sink and wash it like they would a natural hand. It's not submersible just yet. We're working on that, and we're hoping that Mark 10 will be fully submersible so that we can, who knows, maybe even go swimming with the ability hand, which I think would be really cool. I guess you could put a glove over it, and you could probably go swimming now with it, like a neoprene sleeve. And I think I've seen that before too. And so, but yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely going to be kind of exciting, to another exciting direction where we take this. So like just like even more functionality than we've had before. And I think I saw some other comments come through. One on, I think there's one through LinkedIn. Let me see if I can find that. So this one was from Bill Cochran, who is one of our users, who said, congratulations, Aadeel. It's great to see where you all are headed. Thank you, Bill. It's incredible to have your support. And we've loved having you every single time you come over to our offices here, and like getting to use the hand, and we're so grateful that we can support you and using our hand as well too. And that was like, one of the most beautiful things about having done an equity crowdfunding campaign like this was that our own users have like invested in the company. And when we started like this crowdfunding campaign, like put things in perspective, I was talking about low lows before, right? And like back in 2017, we spent the summer of 2017 in Shenzhen, China, and like we were running an Indiegogo campaign. It was we were trying to raise, I think it was like either 150K or 250K or something like that, and we raised 7K, like literally just 7, right? And at the end of that year, I think that we had like $200 left in our bank account, and I had to determine whether I was going to finish medical school or go full time with the company at that point. And we had applied that summer for our first grant from the National Science Foundation, and we found out like in the last week of December that we got it, and we had gone from $200 in our bank account to $200,200 in our bank account. So we literally went from the lowest low to the highest high in a matter of a week, and that was more money than we had ever had. And that was really what kind of like legitimized the company, right? And so we were a little bit like trepid to like hesitant to like do another crowdfunding campaign, but it was like it was the worst time to raise from VCs, right? Like all the deals were like terrible in the last year, but for us, half of our sales were coming from social media, right? So we had all this like great marketing material that we could use for the campaign, and double as sales themselves, so that we could spread the word, get more people in our hands as well too. But on top of that, we were like, if we are a company about accessibility, why don't we make the company accessible itself? And like I was saying before, the most beautiful thing to come out of that was that our own users got the chance to invest in the company. And so they get to be a part of us making this for them. And I'm just like, that it doesn't get any better than that. Like those are the kinds of things that like you don't typically get that opportunity, right? Like to invest in companies like startups like this, it's like usually you have to have like $25,000 at least that you can invest, or even like more, like depending on the company. And only like big companies like OpenAI and like Microsoft and those people can invest in like really like promising like big tech startups like us, right? And for us, I was just like, if we can open this up and have our users come in, like that's incredible. And we were able to raise like huge amounts, like 4 million in total, right? If you include this round plus the 3.1 that we were at before too. And we did it! We are past 1 million. We are at $1,141. Like what an incredible moment! And thank you guys all for all of your support. And yeah, this is definitely an incredible moment for us. Like I think we raised this in like about like 4 or 5 weeks. Like we just started this campaign, and we're going to be ending at midnight tonight. So again, thank you guys for all of your support. I know we've got a couple more questions and comments that rolled in. So let's see what those say. Congratulations! Thank you. Thank you. Yes, we definitely made it to 1 million, and thank you guys all for like joining in on our live stream. Yes, we've got like Mia saying yay. Thank you, Mia. This was definitely a giant accomplishment for us over the last decade. Over the last decade, getting to this point, and we couldn't have done it without all of your guys' support. And yeah, so there's still 3 hours left to round out the night. We would love to have as many people come on board as possible. We hit our goal of getting to 1 million this month, and I just want to say that it's going to be super, super, super exciting to have you all on board and to get to show you all the amazing things that we're going to be doing over the next year. And Joseph, I don't know if you had any like final thoughts or closing thoughts.
Yeah, thank you everyone.
Closing thoughts. I don't know.
Because it's just starting, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, we're not even really closing things. This is just the
Yeah.
beginning of everything, too, right? So I think we just got another comment through LinkedIn saying best wishes on an amazing cause. Thank you. Sorry, what were you gonna
Maybe
say?
for like future like live streams, I would always be interested to see like how many people like where you found us and like how many are maybe on like the robotic side versus on like the prosthetic side, stuff like that. Just curious to see what the makeup of our audience is and who's most tuned in.
Yeah. And honestly, I would love to do more live streams like
Yeah.
this too. I think it'd be a lot of fun, and especially to get other potential experts in the field too, and just like have discussions about where the future of this stuff is going. And we've got a couple more comments here from Callie. Yay, happy to see this amazing company reach for the stars and beyond. Yes, reach, exactly, reaching with our bionic limbs, right? And then we've got Stephen saying, congratulations, happy to be an investor and can't wait until I get my hand. Stephen, it's been amazing meeting you this past week. And so if you guys want to hear more about his story, if this was on ABC News San Diego this past week. And it's just an incredible story about Stephen and his perseverance and his eventual goal to get our hand. We're excited to be working with you, man. And so we've got Zombie Kanapa saying, question about the future. Have you considered moving into deep sea research? I've been closely following the Nautilus remote rover research, and your prosthetics are a perfect ROV sample collection. Well, I mean, if we get the hand to be IP68, then that could be just another natural like extension of the hand. So I think definitely that could be a potential application of our hand, especially if we've got IP68. We've got Abin saying, this looks like a great product. Y'all will impact so many lives. Best wishes. And that is definitely the goal here, right, is to impact as many lives as possible. So again, thank you everyone for all of your guys' support. We're super excited that we're able to reach our goals and our milestones. And we got an additional like 300 in there too. So well over 1 million now. And the night is still young, still 3 hours left to go. But I think we're probably gonna wrap it up here at Psionic in the office here. And like I said, if you guys are ever in San Diego, please feel free to drop us a line. We'd be happy to have you come visit us, give a tour. You can come shake hands with a robot dog, with Abby the robot dog, see all of our prototypes, and see how we manufacture all the bionic hands and where we're going with all this stuff in the future.
Meet Ani.
Meet Ani, meet some of our users, and just see the really special community that we've built here, and the company that we've been building, and that we've been building with all of your guys' support. So thank you again. If you have any other questions and comments, feel free to drop us a line on our social media platforms, or go to the StartEngine page and you can ask us questions directly on the discussion board there. Really excited to have you on board. And thank you guys, and have a great night. Awesome. Take care. Bye.